Hello, my dears. I'm here to do Drink Deep, the story of the woman at the well. And this chapter is all about Jacob's well in the Old Testament and in the New Testament, and the symbolism of the well in the Old Testament. Jacob's well is still one of the most famous biblical landmarks in Israel today. And back in January 2024, the Palestinians had a dispute there, and there was actually some damage done to Jacob's well. Man, I would love to see it. I would love to sit there and just remember and reminisce. The woman at the well, Fotini, she indicated that the well was deep and that it had no steps. Remember, Jesus says, if you drink of the water that I would like to give you, you will never thirst again. And she got a little snarky with him and said, but you don't even have a bucket, sir. How would you get this water? Are you greater than our father, Jacob? Well, yeah, it was Jesus. He was greater than their father, Jacob. And to understand how deep this well was, it says that the actual measurement shows it to be 135 feet deep. That's really far down. For people to have had to hand dig these wells back in the past, and this was a very old well. I'm talking a 4,000-year-old well. It was 9 feet in diameter. It still is to this day. Think about the manual labor, the work that would go into lowering somebody into this well, digging it little by little, bucket by bucket, and scooping it out. That's how this well was dug. Think about the symbolism going deep, deep down on the inside to find this spring, this source of living water. It is a symbolic picture of the Trinity, the Godhead, Holy Spirit inside of us, just waiting to burst forth, right? It's amazing, amazing. In ancient Israel, water was in limited supply. It was the primary factor for existence. Water today is still the basis for human life. The human body is composed of 70% water. Everything is a mirror. Think about it. The earth is 70% water. Everything is a mirror of what's going on in here. Clean water consumption is a critical component for existence. Water is refreshing and purifying, and no one in the human race can live without water. One of the first things that happens on these survival shows that I like to watch is that once these people get dropped off to a remote location with hardly any tools for survival, one of the first things they have to do is find a viable water source, a clean water source where they can drink water, because without water, they cannot survive, period. So these wells were very, very important to society. In biblical times, wells belonged to the people who they were named for, or the people who dug them. To own a well and to possess the surrounding country were synonymous. So if you dug a well, that was your territory. Why? Because the labor to dig that well was excruciating. For you to actually find water on the property meant you putting a stake in the ground. This is my land. The well was also a modern day water cooler. It is a symbol of community. The well is a symbol of fellowship. It's a symbol of family. Think about it like this. The well is actually a symbol of communion. It is a symbol of union. It's where everyone got together because they had to have this essential ingredient to sustain their lives. So everyone came to it. That water was essential. it's so symbolic. This relationship is essential. And so we all meet around and gather together around this relationship, this triune love. It is essential for our existence, man. I love it so much. There's so much symbolism in the Bible. To understand that it is written in multi-dimensional language. The thing is the thing, and the thing is the thing, the thing, the thing, the thing, the thing. The thing is the thing, and then some. Like, it is, I feel like every time you were to read the Bible, it's like throwing another stone in a puddle, and the ripple effects of the meaning of it should come out and out and out and out until you're just like, wow, this is so symbolic. This is the modern day water cooler, and so is the revelation of the good news. That the good news is actually the well, where we surround ourselves to partake of this communion. And that's why this conversation for Jesus is food to him. It is the communion that is actually nourishing to him. It is the resolve of God. The will of his Father is for this fellowship, face-to-face fellowship with his creations, his children. Some wonder why the woman came to the well, why the woman came to Jacob's well, which was about a half a mile from her city, when Sychar, the city of Sychar, actually had well water in the town. But not wanting to be seen, she went at the hottest part of the day, when she thought no one would be there. According to Genesis 24:11, coming at the hottest part of the day was not the social norm or the customs of the day. Women came to draw water in the evening when it was cooler. Then they would sit around and chit-chat. Women were the ones mostly who came to draw the water. They came to socialize. There were a lot of women who were shepherdess. And so they came to water their flocks. They came to obtain the water for cooking, for cleaning, and for ceremonial washing. At the well in the Old Testament, there's two places in Genesis that are significant. And in the Passion Translation, these two chapters are subtitled The Woman at the Well. The first one is when Rebecca meets her husband, Isaac, at the well. The second one is when Jacob meets his wife, Rachael, at the well. And boy, there is so much symbolism. If you go back and read Genesis 29, 1 through 13 in the Old Testament and read the story about how Jacob meets Rachael at the well, it is such a beautiful picture of Christ sitting here with Fotini. Some of the similarities, I'll just read a little bit of this. While they were still speaking, Rachael the shepherdess drew near to the well with her father's sheep. As soon as Jacob took one good look at Rachael, the beautiful daughter of Laban, he quickly went over to the mouth of the well and single-handedly rolled away the stone and watered all the flock of his uncle Laban. Immediately he walked up to Rachael and kissed her. Unable to hold back his tears, Jacob wept aloud. After he composed himself, he said to Rachael, "I am your father's nephew, your Aunt Rebecca's son." Upon hearing this, Rachael ran to tell her father. When Laban heard that his nephew Jacob had arrived at the well, he ran to greet him. Laban hugged and kissed Jacob and welcomed him to his hometown. Look, this is a picture of what is happening and what's going to happen in Samaria, in the city of Sychar. Remember, the woman, Fotini, once she meets the Lord, she runs and tells everybody in the town, and they run back out to meet Christ. This is called Christocentric theology. We go from the Old Testament to the New Testament. Now that we know the gospel, the good news, the "it is finished" message. We can go back and we read the Old Testament, and now the light of the New Testament, where Jesus Christ is the substance, he actually shines light on the shadows of the Old Testament, and we have aha moments where we're like, well, there he is right there. There's Jesus Christ right there. All right, so here's what the shepherd said, though. When Jacob comes to this well, he wants to go ahead and water the flocks. All right, and here's what the shepherd said. Jacob said to them, look, it's not time for the animals to gather here. It's now the hottest part of the day. Let's go ahead and water the sheep. He said, these sheep are hot. Let's go ahead and water them. And then you can go and take your sheep to pasture. And the shepherds replied, first, we have to wait until all the flocks are gathered. After that, the stone needs to be rolled away from the mouth of the well, and then we'll water the animals. So he tries to go against their normal day-to-day customs. He tries to go against their social norms, and they're trying to explain to him, no, we have to wait till all the flocks get here. There's a method to this thing, man. We got rules, dude. We got rules. And then Rachel shows up on the scene, and when Rachel shows up, when the bride shows up, just like this Fotini shows up, Jacob single-handedly rolls away the stone and waters all the flocks. This is so symbolic, man. It's a picture of Jesus rolling away the stone and waters all the flocks. The interesting thing about this is that he hadn't even gone to the cross yet. And you have to remember that salvation happened way before the cross was an event in human history, because it's actually an event outside of human history. Did it happen in human history? Absolutely. But it also is timeless. It happened before the foundation of the world. That's how Jesus was able to offer this woman salvation, because he had already done it. Technically, he had already watered all the flocks and rolled away the stone. Man, this is so good. 2 wells, 2 women, 2 extraordinary men. Both Jacob and Jesus were supernaturally led to the well to meet a woman, a bride. They each went to the well at the hottest part of the day, not at the normal well time. They both broke the cultural customs of their day. Jacob watered the sheep ahead of time, and Jesus gave the gift of God, this living water, to this Gentile flock. He includes them before the cross is actual an event in human history. He shows us that the cross was outside of time. Another thing that Jesus did is he speaks to this woman in public. A woman of questionable character, and a Samaritan at that. And he speaks to her about religious topics. He answers her religious questions. Remember that movie Yentl? Yentl wants to know all about the Torah. Tell me, where is it written that we should do this? And her father says, shh, you're going to get our family in trouble. Women are not to be taught. We're not supposed to answer your questions. And finally, she won't leave him alone. So under the cover of night, he lights a candle. He closes all the curtains in the house. And he says, let me show you. Oh my goodness, man. Okay. Both women ran to tell others who they had met at the well. And then they brought others back to meet him. Jacob and Jesus both received supernatural physical demonstration of their inward love for the woman. Jacob had an extraordinary amount of strength to remove this stone single-handedly from the well, and then to water an entire flock of sheep. Like, we're probably talking 60 to 70 sheep. And he waters this entire flock of sheep, gallons of water by hand, obviously a prophetic picture of Jesus. Jesus had supernatural food that sustained him. Remember, he comes to the well. He's in need of thirst. He's tired. He needs food. He needs drink. All of a sudden, he has this conversation with Fotini, and he is instantly supercharged by the will or the resolve of his Father. What is the resolve or the will of God? union, communion, fellowship. Think about the symbolism of the well. It is the symbol of community, of communion, the gathering point, the gathering spot of the community, a place of fellowship. And so he has supernatural food. The disciples come back. They say, we got food. He says, I've already had the food I've had. You do not know of this food. And they're like, did somebody bring him food? He's like, no, my food is to do the will of my Father. And the resolve of God is this family fellowship. Bring the ones who feel like they're isolated and separated back to reality. All right. Man, I get so excited about this. Jacob was invited to stay at Laban's home, and Jesus was invited to stay in Sychar for 2 days. Jacob found his wife, which fulfilled Yahweh's promise to his grandfather Abraham. And look, here's Jesus as God, witnessing and seeing firsthand his own promise. Do you know the delight? Do you understand the delight that Jesus had seeing his own promise fulfilled? Can you imagine? This is why all of heaven rejoices, really, when one person has that awakening, because God sees his promise is already fulfilled. And then when we wake up, he just celebrates. I love it. I love it. The story of Jacob meeting Rachael at the well almost 4,000 years earlier is a prophetic picture of Jesus. Remember, the whole Old Testament scripture points to Christ. And I hope you enjoyed this. Next week, we'll talk a little bit about the words, give me a drink. Drinky, drinky, drinky. Remember in Song of Solomon 5:1, he says, oh, drink me, and drink me some more. Enjoy this lover's drink. So sit at lover's well today, the well of wonder, the well of communion, the well of union, a symbolic picture of all the flocks being gathered together in union and in fellowship. I love you guys.